guys, Asher Karnage today, Racial Legends. Welcome to the video. Glad to have you all here with me today. Sending some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need it out there today. Today, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite area of the game, Hydra Clan Boss. At least you have a passing interest because you clicked on the damn video.
Well, what happened? Did I do something wrong?
The top 20 Hydra Clan Boss damage dealers. This was a tough list to make, but I love talking about these champions because Hydra is actually an area where I've ebbed and flowed. What about you guys? Are you super into Hydra Clan Boss? I think it's probably the most popular area of the game right now. It's awesome. I think that Hydra is really cool because it's all about optimizing your teams, right? And kind of A/B testing. I don't know about you guys, but I've wasted nights. I've actually had this situation happen before where I missed a key because I was up the night before, like trying to optimize my team in bed, and I just fell asleep, you know?
Why do you keep falling asleep? I was up playing this video game all night and I haven't slept much.
It's fun though, it's fun. So I love A/B testing damage dealers. I want to give a couple shout outs right out the gate of some of my personal faves that just didn't crack the top 20 for me, but still I thought deserved a shout out. Valkanen is a really sneaky, underrated damage dealer, and he also brings the Hex as well. I love me some Valkanen. Also, not a lot of epics, I think maybe 2 on the list, but Husk and Royal Guard are definitely up there. The thing about Husk and Royal Guard are their damage is amazing, except for the decapitated heads. Like, their damage is really good, but that's where, you know, champions like, well, the ones we're going to talk about, some of them can just nuke the hell out of those decapitated heads. So I put them a little bit higher, but it was very, very close. They're still tried and true damage dealers for any Hydra Clan Boss team. All right, that's out of the way. Let's get to the list, guys, and let's start out with one that I don't have, but golly, I've seen enough of Toshiro the Bloody to know he's one of my most wanted mythical champions in the game. Oh man, this guy just dishes out some insane damage. As a matter of fact, my man Graazur sent me this screenshot of his team that he's optimizing right now. I will show you guys the damage. This is insane. This is nightmare. Toshiro, 2.1 billion damage. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, dude? Even out damaging Gharol there on this team, 5.13 billion damage dealt. Yeah, Toshiro is an absolute monster. I'm not going to read his entire kit because he would be here all day. Same thing with all of the mythical champions, but he has AoEs, he has decreased defense, extra hits on enemies under 2 or more debuffs, which is always going to be the case. My man's got more AoEs, he's got heals, he's got support and more AoEs, more decreased speed, extra turn mechanics in his kit as well. And man, what a cool look on this alternate form, huh? Yo, what up, man? I like how he goes whoosh across the hat there. This is a really cool design. Toshiro the Bloody must be, he's got to be one of my favorite. Look at that. Look at the hat move. Boom. Oh, I love it. I love it. Anyway, this guy is an absolute monster. Doubles the amount of healing this champion receives when attacking enemies under leech. Decreases the damage taken from enemies under leech. On his base passive, he has champion turn meter fill, 5% every time they attack a target under leech. 25% more damage to enemies under leech debuffs. That's huge. All right, we talked enough about him. Next is going to be, of course, let's just get her out of the way right now. She never misses leg day. There she is, Trunda giltmallet. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, Trunda's Trunda, right? Trunda's Trunda. Yeah, it doesn't even matter the difficulty, but especially against like hard difficulty, she can dish out insane amounts of damage. The W Meko teams are still the best teams in terms of overall Hydra clash scores out there because of the Cloak of Ages. It's insane. I thought they were gonna do like a soft nerf on Trunda or on the Hydra heads to make them less susceptible to the Cloak of Ages damage. I haven't noticed it if they did it. She's still one of, if not the, well, she's the #1 Hydra Clan Boss damage dealer inside the entire game. All right, next up, and let me know how you feel about Trunda, guys. Let me know how you feel about, are you guys still mad, some of you, that she hasn't been nerfed? Are you guys quite happy that she hasn't been? Let me know what you think of Trunda in the comments below. Last I checked, I want to say you guys were pretty mixed. 50-50 feedback on if she needed a nerf or not. Anyway, one of my personal favorites, it's Wallmaster Othorion. This guy is insane. He might not, no, he's not the only enemy max HP on the list, but he's one of the only 2, I think, or 3. he's perfect for Hydra clan boss, right? He's got the AoE on the A1. He's got the turn meter fill. He's got a 2-time AoE enemy max HP, 3-turn cooldown A2 with a block buffs and a decreased attack and turn meter fill for every living enemy after the attack. And then he self buffs. He brings his own increased speed, increased attack, and increased accuracy with that extra turn mechanic. Increases his champion's max HP by 20% for each enemy killed or Hydra head decapitated. He was built for Hydra. It's in his kit. This guy's my favorite enemy max HP champion. Personally, I'm not saying he's the best, but he's my favorite for Hydra clan boss. I love that he brings 2 of those essential debuffs as well. Hey, I said there was 2 epics on the list. I lied. There's 3. There's 3.
Why are you like this?
And here's one of them, Oboro, or one of her. Oboro, she doesn't do the hat move though, like Toshiro does.
Premium stuff, Dinesh.
But either way, she's got the cool hat. She's awesome. Mainly, not only because of Lady Mikage, but a big reason for Oboro being on this list is because of Lady Mikage. Lady Mikage, obviously a permanent mythical fusion in the game. She's hard to get, but if you can get her on her A1, a random enemy from the Shadowkin faction will join using their default skill. That would be Oboro if she's the only one on the team with her. And Oboro will use her default skill, which is actually just cracked for Hydra clan boss. Will attack all enemies instead if the initial target is under 4 or more debuffs. So stack up your debuffs, land your provoke, and you're going to be good to go, right? She's always going to be AoEing on that A1. She also has a chance of placing the decreased defense, which is great. Big version, 50% chance, 55 with sniper. In addition to that, she has a hard-hitting A2, and she has a self-buffing ability that hits really hard on ninja arts on her A3 ability. Well, plays a revive on death on this champion for 3 turns whenever they receive a veil or perfect veil. So some survivability, which she really needs as well, built into her kit. The damage is absolutely insane from Oboro. I think out of all the epics on my list, she's my favorite for Hydra, but not my favorite overall out of the 3 epics. Anyway, let's talk about probably a top 3, maybe top 5 overall damage dealer for Hydra clan boss in the entire game, and it's none other than Varl the Destroyer. Man, I slept on this guy way too long. This guy is absolutely just busted in terms of Hydra clan boss damage. Man, I've had him for a long time since Hydra was introduced to the game, and I just started recently using him, and he's replaced my Venus and Cupidus combo, right? He's out-damaged Cupidus by a ton. Like, he's that good. Cupidus is another honorable mention, by the way, for this list. An AoE with a weaken on the A2, a very hard-hitting Calamity Torrent on his A3, especially against decapitated heads. It has a 30% ignore defense built in, and it can smack. We're talking 2 million plus damage on even Nightmare. But mass murder is what makes him so special. Increases champions attack by 10% each time they use an active skill, and that's the entire battle. So you get 100% attack bonus. You double this dude's attack. It's just nuts. So build him with a lot of attack, get double value, and watch the damage flow. This one, hey man, I was on a collab with my man Scratch a while back, and he mentioned as one of his favorite Hydra clan boss champions, Rathalos blademaster. And I kind of did one of those internal, like, is he really that good? Is he top? I think it was like a top 10, top 15 video. I'm like, is he that good? Is he top 10, top 15? And he is. After that video, I've had a lot more, time to test Rathalos. The only thing is I really wish that you knew when he was going to do that AoE. I wish it was like stacks or something, right? That because it's every every second use of this skill in a round will attack all enemies instead. I kind of wish that ability was like a stack that you knew or some sort of visual. Anyway, I think I saw somebody on Reddit talking about that as well. Either way though, he just dishes out a ton of damage, man. He's a great damage dealer. He's got an increased crit damage as well for even more, damage, and an increased speed, which is nice. He's just a fantastic damage dealer from the Monster Hunters collab. So everybody has Rathalos as long as you've been playing this game for, a little bit of time, a few months here. All right, next up is going to be, whoa. Love how it just randomly takes me to the shop there. I just misclicked once and boom, I'm in the shop somehow.
$15,000.
Yeah, they're sneaky with the buttons in this game, right? You know what another one that got me is the primal shards, when you go to claim a primal shard from the quartz, right? It's so close to the 500,000 summon times 10. You can almost mistap it. Like, that's criminal right there. Anyway, actually, hey, let's do a remnant summon. Little intermission for you guys. Of course, it's not a mythical, and it's not. It's corpse collector. It's corpse collector. Awesome. Okay, back to the list. Next up is going to be Michinaki. Oh, I love me some Michinaki. So underrated, or maybe properly rated. I don't know. This guy's just so dang good. He's got defense in all battles by 30%, so can be a serviceable or a lead for you guys. Whenever an enemy attacks an enemy under a hex, or ally, excuse me, attacks an enemy under a hex, he has a 50% chance of joining in with his default skill, which places an HP burn. He has an AoE, decrease defense, and then he has a decrease attack on enemies under hex. On the A3, he's attacking everybody 2 times, doing nice damage. He's removing all buffs, and he's placing the hex on a 3-turn cooldown. My man is debuffing, he's removing buffs, he's placing hex, he's burning the enemies, and he's placing decreased defense and doing a hell of a lot of damage in throughout all that process. Michinaki, oh, he's the best still. He's really freaking good. I love him. Harima. Most people know Harima as an arena nuker, one of the best defensive-based nukers in the game, an amazing demon slayer that helps you out a ton in PvP. But Harima, my girl, she's a great damage dealer and a provoker for Hydra clan boss. A pretty simple kit. She's got a strong AoE with Celestial Awe, and she's got a very strong A2 that can also boost up her defense. She's a defense-based champion. Just make sure you bring your increased defense on the team to get the most damage out of her. And look at that scalability, 1531 on the base defense. She can dish out some serious damage. So big shout out to Harima. I actually just used Harima in my siege battle. Sorry guys, this is going a little bit off the rails here. I'm doing a lot of looking around here and pointing out things you guys probably don't care about, but I just used her in this siege battle. We only have one thing left, one post, excuse me. But here's the team that I used. There it is. I used some Armons, some Mikage, some Siphi, and my girl Harima to take down the Nutcracker, Star Sage, Arbiter, and Armons. I love Harima, especially in PvP. Anyway, I digress. Let's go to, what a needless humble brag. Hey guys, I just beat an outpost. Wanna look? Sorry about that. I went back and forth on this dude. Is he really a top 20? Is an elite damage dealer, a ninja? You know, there's so many snubs, a Yannicka, a lot more, right? But I think he is. I think ninja belongs on the list. Primarily because not only does he have the instant burn activation on the same ability where he's placing the burn, not only can he decrease that that damage, but also he has the Scion Slash, which all brings me to escalation every time he increase the ninja attack by 10% up to 100%, and crit damage by 5% up to 25 each time a single enemy is hit by all 3 of ninja's active skills in a round. So listen, it's not going to be immediate. It does scale up much faster against bosses, right? 20% instead of 10. But you get that escalation on ninja. Sometimes it's better just kind of manual till you know you're getting that escalation, charged up. That way you can take advantage of his full damage throughout the duration. There's so many different ways to build ninja in this game. There's a lot of ways that you don't even build him to be a traditional nuker. You build him more for survivability, for burn, and for burn activation. But you can actually get a lot of damage beyond just the burn and burn activation from ninja by taking advantage of escalation in a nuker build, in a merciless type build. Or a lethal or savage. So ninja did, and I believe deserves to be on the list. Next up is one of my personal favorites. After the buff of Hex in the game, which was a while back now, Turvold has just become an absolute beast, a monster, one of the OG legendaries, void legendaries in Raid Shadow Legends, and this guy, he's still got it, right? So incredibly good when it comes to raw damage. Now you can control how much damage you get from Turvold because his damage scales up with Juggernaut, which is predicated on the number of buffs on him. So rev him up for even more damage. Get more buffs on him for even more damage. He also brings Weaken on a very hard-hitting A1 ability. This guy dishes out some serious damage. And keep in mind, every Hydra head under Hex will receive 10% of that damage. 10% doesn't sound like much, but my man's hitting for 2 million times 2 on his A3 when you have him at maximum buffs, right? So, or more damage. Very good for Hydra clan boss Turvold. Love him. One of my one of my personal most used nukers in Hydra Clan Boss. Next up, we have Taurus, or Taras. How do you guys say it? Tomato, tomato, Taurus, Taras? I say Taurus, but I feel like most people say Taras. Anyway, constant pressure gets the job done, right? This dude is very tanky. He's tough to kill, and it's just one of the better nukes out there in the game, right? Increases duration of all ally buffs on there as well, which is especially useful in longer battles like Hydra Clan Boss. Make sure you keep all those buffs on all of your allies at the same time, or at all times, excuse me. He has a little decreased attack on the A1 ability as well. All right, guys, that is not my live arena alarm. That was my pick up my son alarm, but I'm good. Okay, he's gonna ride. We're not being a neglectful parent here recording. This one, he's kind of borderline. I think you can make a case for Alaz being on or off the list, maybe in comparison to some of the other honorable mentions that we mentioned throughout the video. But Alaz, the sunbearer, I mean, he's on my list, okay? I love this guy. It's funny, when I pulled him initially, and I've had this experience with a few mythicals on my account. What a pay-to-win thing to say, right? But I've had this experience before where it took me a long time to really warm up to just how good a mythical champion is, because hell, it takes a lot of time. Even for me, I'm dry on mythical skill tomes. So these champions, you got to keep in mind, especially the damage. 20% damage is incredibly significant, and it's one book, you know, which is a good thing. It's a bad thing how tough they are to get. But booking up just for damage is not something I'm usually excited about. But on mythicals like Alaz, 20% really does add up quite a bit. Anyway, he has Rolling Thunder on his base form. This is the hardest hit of his entire kit, his base form and his alternate form by far. So I just keep him in his base form the entirety of the battle, because he can also be a provoker. He has a 2-turn provoke on a 3-turn cooldown, and he brings counterattack and block damage, which is really handy. Just be careful of, you need block buffs on the enemy Hydra heads at all times. This cannot be stolen. You do not want to be going against counterattack and block damage, but that's controllable. It's totally able to be mitigated, and this guy just absolutely smacks. The cool thing is increases champions defense by 5% each time they counterattack, up to 100%. You're noticing now with Varl, with Alaz, with Ninja, that these escalating abilities, these passives, really make a massive difference in sometimes a half an hour or an hour long battles, or even longer if you go manual, depending on where you are in the game. Now on his alternate form, it's actually really good as well, just depending on what you need. He has a burn and an instant activation, but only on enemies under stone skin. So it's a shame. If this was against anybody, the instant activation, I would absolutely change forms, but he does have a really nice support ability on his A3. Fully restores allies max HP, heals them with the strengthen and an increased resistance. However, with that said, again, I stay in the base form with Alaz. All right, I think we only have one more mythical, then I'll give you guys a nice long break here. But of course, I have to put Gharol on the list. Gharol bloodmaul is so much fun to watch. Her base form, again, is not bad. Depending on where you are in your account, if you're lucky enough to pull a Gharol, God, congratulations. But she does have a provoke. She has a block buffs, as well as an ally protection and a shield on a 3-turn ability. So a very nice base form, but then she flips over from an HP-based champion to an attack-based champion on her alternate form, and most players just keep her in her alternate form if you're trying to min-max your damage. She's a very hard-hitting A2, but the highlight of her kit is the Magma Slam that has a 20% chance to repeat the attack on her A1. It's an AoE attack, and then you parlay that with her passive, Crimson Haze. Whenever an ally attacks, she has a 25% chance to team up and join the attack. Her damage also increases as her HP decreases, and she's kind of squishy on her alternate form. She can just dish out insane amount of damage. She's always joining in with her A1 because she has a 25% chance of joining in the attack. I advise building your uber high attack, high crit damage, and sacrificing maybe even a little bit of speed if you need to. What I'm trying to say is consider putting attack percentage boots and as much speed as you can muster, of course, ideally the ascension stat, on your Gharol, because she's going to be attacking so much out of turn because of the Crimson Haze passive. Okay, next up, guys, is going to be Oh, I said there was another enemy max HP champion. Of course, it's Acrizia. I still have her in my top 20. She's still an insanely good damage dealer. She has the battlefield domination, arguably the best enemy max or the best enemy max HP for Hydra clan bosses, an AoE ×2 enemy max HP ability on a 3-turn cooldown. Then she has a hard-hitting shutdown and a hard-hitting unflagging assault on her A1 with, again, an enemy max HP ability. Because of her passive, she's very difficult to kill as well. So she's a tanky little dwarf here, and well, she gets the job done. As I said before about enemy max HP champions, I'm tending to prefer the like escalation passive type champions on my own account lately, but that said, I still use Wallmaster and Acrizia on 2 of my 3 Hydra clan boss teams. This one, some of you guys may have not seen coming on the list, but I think that Supreme Galek is absolutely a top damage dealer for Hydra clan boss. He has a kit that's built for Hydra clan boss.
Do not take me easy.
He has increasing duration of burns on his A1, on his A2, a 4-time hitter, increased attack on himself. Also, we have an extra chance at a critical hit. He's instantly activating HP burns. He's also filling his turn meter by 30% if he is activating the burn debuffs, excuse me. And then on his A3, an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown, again, the extra 10% chance to crit, and then placing an HP burn and a block buffs for 2 turns, a decreased speed on targets whose turn meter is higher than 50%. I love this ability. It's dealing a lot of damage. You've got the burns, you've got the activation of the burns on the A2, you have block buffs, again, an essential debuff, and then decreased speed. You guys know if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, decreased speed is my absolute favorite debuff to have for Hydra clan boss. I look for it on every single team. Don't leave home without it. Whenever he receives a true fear, instantly removes it and then fully heals him and then grants him a turn right then and there. That allows him to get even more turns, thus more burns, more burn activation, and more damage. Supreme Galek. What do you guys think? Do any of you guys use Supreme Galek? If you actually look on Hell Hades Optimizer, there's a lot of top teams that use Supreme Galek. A lot more than I had thought. I kind of went through the list just to make sure I wasn't forgetting anybody. Yeah, a lot of Supreme Galek. Graazur Irongut. Oh, Graazur. I love Krisk.
Come on, man.
And you can absolutely argue that Krisk is better, maybe, for overall for Hydra clan boss, but Graazur deals out more damage, if you have them both built the same way, right? You can build them in curse sets for even more damage with Hex. A lot of people do that with Krisk, but I digress. Defend the wall is great. He's got a shield. He's got the healing bombardment, a great heal and a great attack based on enemy max HP on a 3-turn cooldown. And then he has an AoE provoke, an increased resistance, and an increased defense. He's not the biggest damage dealer, probably one of the towards the bottom of the top 20, but still incredibly good. And again, a champion that I absolutely use because he can be a great second damage dealer on your team, right? Because he adds so much else to the table. The increased duration, well, we already talked about it, right? Really love Graazur Irongut. Next up, guys, a little bit more free to play to end out the video here with the final, 3 of the final 4. Let's do the pay to win. Well, not really. I guess I want to hear from you guys. Where are you on getting Quintus the Triumphant?
Do you really want to make me try?
Have you got him? Are you anywhere close? Have you not even thought about it, right? He's the live arena champion. I gotta be honest, Quintus was a bit underwhelming inside the arena. And I got hate the last time I mentioned him as a great Hydra nuker. But again, as I said earlier, just go to Hell Hades and look at the top teams. There's a lot of teams using Quintus. He's really good in Hydra. He's not that great, just meh in the arena, mainly because you get him at the point where you already have like great nukers in the arena for PvP. He brings his own increased attack, his own crit damage, and then he has a really hard-hitting, crowd favor ability. Resets the cooldown and strip away if you attack an enemy. Then he has a very hard-hitting strip away on the A2, but it's really the percussion passive that makes him very, very good for, in terms of a damage dealer, raw damage dealer in Hydra clan boss. Each of his champion skills deals additional pure damage. The amount of that pure damage is equal to 10% of the target's max HP for each buff on them, okay? The additional pure damage will ignore shield buffs. So again, you might be thinking, well, there's not going to be buffs on the Hydra heads, ideally, so what do I care? Well, it's 10% extra enemy max HP based damage that's on all of his skills. it might not seem like much in areas like the arena, but in Hydra, in PvE environments where they have a ton of HP, especially the higher that you scale, he's like a good nightmare damage dealer because they have more HP, right? It really lends the damage to make him actually an interesting champion in that one area of the game. All right, 3 left, guys. Starting with the bunny. The bunny. Man, you guys would kill me in the comments if I did not include this bunny who, man, I regret not going for Hair Force 1. Razelvarg. This dude can deal some insane damage. I've seen some just bonkers damage stats coming out of Razelvarg, and man, I would never have guessed it in the very, very beginning, like before we saw playtesting, before we saw this guy in action. He's just insane. He's based on attack and speed. He has the passive that revs up his speed just exponentially, and then he's got a strong AoE as well, again, that scales off of attack and speed with increased speed and increased accuracy on all allies. Another AoE on another 3-turn cooldown with the leech on the A2. 2 AoEs, scaling off of attack and speed, and then ramping up speed. Razelvarg is definitely the king of, well, bunny speed in the game. And I don't know about you, but I like this freaky kind of, I don't know, wolf skin thing he's got going on here. Real badass bunny, right? All right, next up is going to be number 18 on the list. Number 19 on the list. It's going to be actually a champion that I was not super excited to get. I'm only a few days away from getting my hands on Karnage, but man, I've seen this dude pull off some absolutely insane numbers. A lot of people were underwhelmed by Karnage out the gate, but with a base 1960 attack, by far the highest in the game. On his alternate form, he can absolutely smack on a 2-time AoE and a regular AoE. He's got a crit damage increase by 1% for every 3 points of accuracy they have, and ignores 10% of the target's defense for each debuff they are under. So it's crucial that you stack up those debuffs on a team utilizing Karnage. But I've seen some just insane, sick numbers out of Karnage out there, and his use rates are rising very, very fast on Hydra Clan Boss as a main DPS. And then last but not least on the list, a couple honorables before we end things off here. Sun Wukong, I thought about including Monkey King. He's close. He can actually still dish out a lot of damage. I thought about giving maybe an honorable or even including 2 epics here. Phenax, who can deal some really, really nice damage, especially with that A1 against decapitated heads. It's insane on an ally attack team. He has a hard-hitting A2 as well. You can put him in Merciless, shut off his A3, and just get more AoEs out of him as well. Inquisitor is a really good damage dealer and a great cleanser, obviously, for the true fears. Has a full ignore defense on his A2, but I ended up going with Marius. Marius is really, really nasty. A defense-based damage dealer and more. He has an AoE on his A1. He has an AoE times 3 based on defense and enemy max HP on his A2 ability. And then he has an extra turn buffing ability, increase accuracy and defense on all allies for 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown, man. Look at all the AoE damage you're getting out of Marius. The self-buffing with the extra turn, the triple hitter, enemy max HP, 3-turn cooldown, and an AoE on the A1 as well, all defense base. He's got high base defense, 1542, increased defense, bolst that up even more. Bolsts? How about bolster, Ash? How about bolster? It bolstered up, guys. And that is my list of top 20 damage dealers for Hydra Clan Boss. Who did I snub? Let me know about it in the comments below. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. And as always, take care, guys.